Monday, August 26, 2019, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Very interesting market overnight. I was up last night, late last night, after 11 London time, watching the markets open. The futures open at 6 p.m. New York. So we have an idea early on already of what's going on. FX market, of course, opened an hour before, and the dollar gapped up against the renminbi or the yuan. So the yuan collapsed, kind of gapped down, made a new high for the year. So the Dow was down about 300 early on, last night. Gold broke through that key resistance of 1525 and also the recent high at 1535. We went all the way up to 1555. So really a lot of fireworks. I think we've kind of crossed the Rubicon in terms of what's going on between the US and China. I made a live stream yesterday. One of the viewers actually made an interesting comment, which I had been thinking about myself. Is this trade war just kabuki theater, just to to be an excuse to bring the system down so that China can blame the US for it, so that the public in China will not blame the Chinese leadership, and vice versa, so the public in the US will blame China for it. It's a great setup, I would say. Of course, a lot of people don't think Trump is part of the globalists, that he's part of the deep state. They think he's fighting the deep state. To be honest, I'm not too sure what he is, to be truthfully honest. I remember, I think it was about a year ago when I think he was his Council of Economic Advisor. It was Gary Cohn, former Goldman guy. They were sitting in the cabinet room in the White House, and Donald Trump said, Gary Cohn, the globalist, and he laughed, is going to leave us. So you get little hints like that, and I'm not too sure. So anyway, I think, we crossed the Rubicon this week about the trade. Yes, we've had some comments now from a Chinese official saying that they don't want to escalate things, but they did escalate it on Friday by raising tariffs on 75 billion of U.S. goods. I think they're just trying to control it's a controlled demolition, right? They need to kind of slow it down. And that's why we'll probably get a lot of tweets. We had the comment by Trump at the G7 saying that he regretted escalating the trade war, and then the White House came out and said no, he regretted not raising tariffs even more, right? So there's a lot of confusion, and I think markets, companies don't like that. Investors don't like the uncertainty. They don't like the fact that one day things are okay, and then the next day you get a tweet or a comment by a Chinese and things aren't. So that's where we are, I think. So I'm going to look at where the markets are this morning, and then I want to talk about something that not many people talk about, and I haven't really looked too much at because we focus so much on markets and prices. So I want to look at the population by country in the world so that we can see what's going on as well, in my opinion, why things are being disrupted in the world economy, in the market, in the monetary system, right? We've had Mark Carney say we need a new currency for the world. The dollar cannot really perform its function anymore. So I thought it'd be interesting to look at world population by country, something that we never talk about, as I said. So it's 10 to 8 a.m. London. So the markets in Europe are going to be quieter today because it's a bank holiday in the UK. So the city of London There will be people there, a skeleton staff, people will be trading, but not as much. And it makes a difference for European markets. So right now, spot gold is at 1542, up about $16 from Friday's close. It is down from the high of 1555, but we have broken out another key level. And it's a little bit the equivalent of 1375, 1380 a few months ago when we broke through there. This one was 1525. I know we had 1535 recently, but that was just an intraday spike up there. So yeah, we've broken 1525. It's possible to go back down, of course, and retest that breakout. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did that. But looking very good. So up 1%. Silver got up to just under 1780 overnight. That's come off as well a little bit. We're still up 23 cents or 1.35% at 1765. So silver outperforming gold, which is encouraging. The Dow is down 95, just over 1/3%, 25,525. The low has been 25,273. So we've been down almost as much as 300 points. And we were down 623, of course, on Friday. S&P is down 12 or 0.4%, 2836. Those are all the futures, of course. The NASDAQ 100 future is down 1/3 as well, 74.41. The pound is down 0.1% against the Federal Reserve note, or the dollar as it's more commonly known, 122.73. Euro is a little stronger, 111.50. Dollar was very weak against the yen overnight. We got down to 104.41, but it's rebounded since we've had a correction in things, and we're now at 105.20, down 0.2%. That's the dollar versus the Japanese currency. And the dollar has also come off against, the dollar has come off against the yuan. It was actually very strong earlier, unlike the yen. It went up to 718.73. We're now at 716.70, only up about 0.5%. Crude oil is down 1%. WTI at 53.50. Brent down 1% as well at 58.32. Bond markets haven't reacted like the rest of the markets. They're still down quite a bit in terms of yields, of course, up in prices. 10-year yield is near the low at 145. It's down almost 8 basis points. The 2-year is down 7.5 basis points, and it's at 145.3. So yeah, the 2s, 10s are slightly inverted right now. So bond markets are still not giving very good signals. Zero Hedge has an article here that's just come out. They say plunge protection team arrives, lifts stocks and currencies, slams gold. So yeah, it could be the plunge protection team, the president's working group on financial markets. But I think it will be, how can I say, a temporary thing. We've had the Chinese official also make a comment. It says here, China's Vice Premier Liu told online news provider Kalian that China has enough macroeconomic policy tools to ensure sound economic fundamentals and firmly opposes escalation of the trade war. And they put in brackets here, it says, which is ironic given that they just did. And suddenly the yuan spikes and the dollar spikes against the yen. U.S. equity futures surge and gold slides. So, but bonds haven't done anything. So it's very hard to control the bond market. It's one of the biggest markets in the world. Very hard to manipulate the bond markets. So that's where we are in terms of the markets. So world population, yeah, with all the talk about global monetary reset, with all the talk about China being the next economic power, which it already is, of course, an economic power, but overtaking the U.S., and the fact that Mark Carney said the world needs multipolar currencies. I was just looking through this the other day, countries in the world by population 2019. And you look here, China and India, of course, are at the top. They've got about 1.4 billion people, each of them. United States, of course, is number 3 with 329 million. But then you get Indonesia, Pakistan, Brazil, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Russia, Mexico, Japan, Ethiopia, Philippines, Egypt, Vietnam, DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. Then the first European country you get here, well, outside Russia, of course. Russia is an European country, but Western European country is Germany at number 17. And then you have to go to number 21 to find the UK, France, and then Italy. So I know just because of the fact that these countries have a lot of population doesn't mean that their economy is great. Countries like Congo or Bangladesh, right? But it is important. These countries are not going to go away, and they're becoming more and more important. There has to be a rebalancing if you think about it, right? I think, of course, the European countries and the US are still very powerful economically in relative terms. But I think with what's going on, or all the debt that we had to take in the West, I think this set of data is very important to consider, especially if you've watched some documentaries. I forgot what it was called, this one, but it was the documentary of what happened during the Lehman collapse when Secretary of the Treasury Hank Paulson called in all the major Wall Street bankers to meet at the New York Fed in the boardroom. And then he got up and he said, the West is effed, right? I don't want to say the word. And he said, yeah, we can only buy time, but we're effed. That's what he said after the '08 collapse. And I never forgot that. Why would he say that to a group of Wall Street bankers, right? The banks, the major banks on Wall Street that own most of the Federal Reserve, right? So that's what I think he meant, that power is going to shift to other places around the world. It's not just going to be Western Europe and North America. You have to consider the rest of the world. And that's why I think Mark Carney called for a new currency and said that the dollar, it was not practical to have the dollar as the, how can I say, the major currency of the world. It has to be a multipolar currency, multipolar monetary system. How that's going to look, I don't know. But I think, as I said before, gold is going to be a very important part of it. And that's why China, Russia, and a lot of other countries are buying physical gold. That's why I don't think COMEX is going to even be that significant anymore, because central bankers, sovereign countries, don't buy futures. They buy physical. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. You can also follow me on Twitter, Steemit, and on DTube. I wish you all a great day. Take care. Bye.